Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to my YouTube channel called Living in Hayward, Wisconsin, where we talk about all things real estate related and also what it's like to live in Hayward, Wisconsin and the surrounding areas. And today I think you're going to be really interested in what I have to share. I am Audrey Miller. I am the broker owner of Northwest Wisconsin Realty Team right on Main Street in Hayward, Wisconsin. And we're going to talk today about price points for lakefront property in the area. So whether you're a buyer or a seller, you may be interested to know, what is my place worth potentially, or what can I afford on the lakefront market in and around the Hayward area? And stay tuned until the end of the video where I'll tell you a pro tip for how to get more for your money when looking for lakefront property in northern Wisconsin. And before we delve into this subject about lakefront property costs, I wanted to remind you, if you like the content that you're seeing on my channel and you don't want to forget about me, or you want to see other videos that become available, please subscribe, like, or share my channel if there's someone else you think might benefit from this information. So we're going to dive right into what is lakefront property worth in northern Wisconsin and the Hayward area. And this is being recorded in the spring of 2024. So obviously markets change, but that's the time frame that we're at right now. So before I give specifics on properties and show you some information on properties that have sold in the last year, I want to give you just the general overview of the market conditions currently. It is definitely still a seller's market in northern Wisconsin, especially for lakefront property. So if you're a seller listening, reach out to me and find out what your home might be worth. It could be more than you think. And if you're a buyer, this doesn't mean it's a bad time to invest at all, because lakefront property just continues to increase in value. So it's going to be a great long-term investment no matter what. They only make so much of it, right? So there's not more lakefront property being made, and it's actually getting harder and harder to find, and obviously has gone up in price as well. The good news is that you can still get on a lake in this area, even in a standalone property, for around $400,000, once in a while in the threes, but typically for a standalone property, it'll be starting around $400,000, with a few exceptions to that. But in terms of general market conditions, our price points have actually increased about 9% from 2022 to 2023 in Sawyer County. So I would call that a fairly steady market and inclining slightly. We don't have data, of course, yet from 2024. Our spring season is just starting, so not a lot of waterfront properties have sold yet. But anyway, this video is going to focus on the $400,000 to $600,000 range of properties. And then I'll do another part 2 where I talk about the ones that are 650 on up to 1.2 million and beyond. So this is kind of for the, I will call it, entry level properties. Now keep in mind, if you're open to a condo property and are okay with some shared frontage and shared common areas, then you may be able to get on a lake for a little bit less, probably starting around that 250 mark on up to 350 and above. Days on market has increased just a little bit. The buyer pool is slightly smaller, but like I mentioned, still definitely a seller's market. But the buyer pool has shrunk a little bit due to interest rates and competition. Honestly, some buyers just got tired of trying. And now there is more chance for buyers to purchase something without quite as heavy of competition. But average days on market within Sawyer County for lakefront property is only 79 days. Keep in mind that's from date of offer of listing until closing. So that means the properties are going under contract in just a few weeks, sometimes just a few days, but average about maybe 30 days on market before they sell. Don't take that to mean that you don't need to come and look at a property right away if you're interested in it. Many properties are still selling with multiple offers within a few days, especially if they are highly desirable to a lot of people or in a price point that a lot of people are looking within. And then the other piece of information that I wanted to share with you is that lakefront properties are selling for 98.2% of full asking price. So basically what you see it listed for is typically what you're going to pay, sometimes a little bit over, sometimes a little bit under. So you just need to be prepared for that as you're searching. And then I guess the other piece of information is that the average sale price in all of Sawyer County for lakefront property, including condos, is $622,000 in 2023. But if you go in just the Hayward and Stone Lake areas, which is kind of the center of the vacation area, the average sale price, excluding condos, is just over $700,000. So I thought that might be helpful information. And now let's dive into kind of some particulars of what can I get. I've got a budget of $400,000. I've been pre-approved. What might I be able to buy in and around the Hayward area? And like I said, stay tuned to the end of the video to find out a really helpful tip on how you may be able to get more for your money if you're looking for lakefront property around the area. So I'm going to show you, first of all, some properties that sold in 2023 in the 400,000 range. So this first one, and I'll just briefly go through these. This first one, the red house here, this is on Reed Lake. That is about 15 miles east of Hayward near the Chippewa flowage, highly desirable location. This was a 1,400 square foot home, a little bit older, but nicely updated. And 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a 3-car detached garage. And this listed for $379,000, sold for $382,000, went under contract very quickly, less than a week. So that's kind of the overview on that one. It had really nice frontage, gradual elevation down to the water, and a fairly private setting, but the downside is it's a very small lake. Reed Lake is only 72 acres. So that's where the convergence always comes together. Lake size, what home you can get, location, these are all things that you can figure out as you begin your search. And if you want more info on that, watch my video called What Lake Should I Buy Property On? And that'll give you a lot more detail of that information. This second one is on one of the area's premier lakes. This is a condo cabin on Round Lake. So here you're paying a lot for the lake you're on and for your frontage. And the cabin is smaller, but it's still in that $400,000 price range. So this was 828 square feet, newer construction, maybe a major remodel because most of those condo cabins are older. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a 2-car garage, which is kind of unusual in a condo. And it's listed for $390, sold for $390. It looks like that was likely a cash buyer as it went to closing within 34 days. And then the third one I wanted to highlight for you, this is on Spring Lake. Spring Lake is a 200-some acre lake. It's a quiet lake that doesn't allow motors and jet skiing and all that kind of stuff. And this is just east of Hayward, about 10 minutes, so it's in a very nice location. It was 2,129 square feet, older home, maybe needed some updates, but 3 beds, 3 baths, 2-car garage, and had a fully finished walkout basement as part of that square footage. It listed for $4,099, sold for $4,099 almost immediately. So the one I wanted to show you a little bit more of on the inside is the one on Reed Lake. So Reed, again, is a 72-acre lake. So once again, you're getting a little more for your money in the cabin and the square footage and the privacy. Location is great, but you are on a smaller lake. So that may prohibit you from doing certain things. I mean, if you go boating all day on a pontoon, you'll be seeing the same shoreline a lot. It's hard to water ski, tube, that kind of thing on a small lake. But if you're looking for more quiet and privacy and a little more for your money in the house part of things, then this is a good fit. So as you can see, again, this sold for $379 last year in 2023. And these are just some of the photos to give you an idea of the interior. It needed a few updates, but overall was in really good condition. And as you can see, as we get down here further, it had really clear water and great frontage. There was a fire pit area, large decks on the house. and you can see this nice fire pit area and the water clarity. So it'd be great for swimming, great for privacy and relaxing. And it did have this 3-car garage also. So that's a sample, and that sold, for under $400,000. And it did sell very, very quickly. So there's a lot of people that are looking in that price range. And then as we move up to kind of the next price range we're discussing, we're just going to skip up to the $600,000 price range, just to kind of give you the next level. So we went from 400 to 600. Obviously, there's lots of properties in between those two, but this is kind of meant to be a general overview. So I'll show you a few that sold closer to that $600,000 mark. This first one right here, this was on the Tiger Cat flowage, about 20 minutes east of Hayward. It is a flowage, so it doesn't have quite the water clarity that you'll get on some of the spring-fed lakes, but it's a pretty good-sized lake, somewhere over 1,000 acres, and kind of an interesting one to boat because it has a lot of little nooks and crannies. So this was on Loon Bay Lane. This particular property had wonderful frontage. So part of what you were paying for here was hundreds of feet of frontage. It was on the end of a peninsula, beautiful clear water, and privacy, which is very hard to come by on lakes in our area. So in return, it was a smaller house, 1,100 square feet. It did have a full basement that could be finished for some family room or additional types. No egress windows or anything down there. It was dated, built in 1983, very, very well maintained, impeccably, I would say, but it did need some updating in terms of kitchen and flooring and that kind of thing. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a 2-car detached garage, and it also had a boathouse down by the water. And this was actually a one-party listing where the buyer and seller were brought together without it ever hitting the market. So it sold for $560,000. That's rare. The one-party listing is a rare thing, but it does happen once in a while. And then the next one is on Lake Wendigo. That's a 500 and some acre lake. It's about 15 minutes south of Hayward. Very nice, clear, clean lake. And this home was kind of unique because it was also on a peninsula, but there were some other houses close by in this case. But still, relative privacy, a lot of extra shoreline beyond the normal, I would say, 100 feet of frontage. This had a couple hundred, maybe even between 200 and 300 feet of frontage. And the one kind of different or cool thing about this one was that the lower level was not finished, but was able to be finished without too much additional expense. So while there was only 1,276 square feet here, 3 beds, 1.5 baths, no garage, it sold for the full asking price within just a few days. It went under contract. However, here there was a lower level that could be finished out, and you could almost double your living space without too much extra cost. And then this third one in that range, here you'll see where the convergence of lake size and cabin size happens again, kind of like that condo I showed you on Round Lake. This is on the Chippewa flowage. So again, you're paying a lot for your lake and your lake shore. This actually was on the Gold Coast of the Chippewa flowage, as it's called, which is some of the nicest sandy frontage on the flowage. So in exchange, you're getting a 1,242 square foot home built in 1960, 2 beds, 1 bath, and just a 1-car garage, but you're getting on one of the premier lakes in the area. And that one sold for $600,000. If I remember correctly, there were multiple offers and it sold within a few days of being on the market. So then to show you just a little bit more on one of those, I'll bring up the one on Lake Wendigo. Sorry, it'll take me a second here to get to that one. So this is a few more pictures of that property just to give you an idea of what it was like inside and out. Fairly updated on the main level. I think the people that bought it, which actually happened to be my buyers, they were going to replace this carpet with some laminate vinyl plank or hardwood flooring, but really great space in the upper level. Updated bathrooms, good bedroom sizes. And then the lower level, as you can see here in these photos, it was partially finished and just needed some, ceilings finished off, some floor coverings. There was a bedroom down there that could be finished off. And this beautiful deck and beautiful views. And again, completely private when you were out here on this deck. So I've actually run into my buyers a few times since then. They've become friends of mine and they are thrilled with their property. They've been spending all of their free time and some working time since he works remotely at this property, and they absolutely love it. And then I told you, if you stayed tuned till the end of the video, I was going to give you a tip, kind of a pro realtor tip on how you can get on lakefront in the Hayward and surrounding areas for a little more bang for your buck, or a little less investment, but still have a nice home on clear water. And the answer to that is location. So Hayward is the center of the vacation community, and the Hayward and Stone Lake areas garner the highest prices. Plus, that's where all of the really big, really clear Tier 1 lakes are located. So if you want to be in northern Wisconsin and you want to be on a lake, but you don't mind being a little bit further from the center of things, you can get more for your money. And trade-off is that you have a little bit further to amenities. So some examples of this are Trigo, Minong, Winter, Ojibwa, Springbrook. Those are some of the main. Birchwood would be another one, other than Long Lake down there. So this is a way that you can get a little more for your money. You'll see as I show you these, the differential between when you're close to Hayward, which those others all were close to Hayward, versus getting a little bit further away from Hayward. You can get on a little bit bigger lake for a similar price, a similar cabin, or maybe even a nicer cabin on a smaller lake if you get a little further from Hayward. So if you're open to that, that might just be a really good fit for you. So this one was on Gull Lake over by Springbrook, about 20 minutes from Hayward, but kind of towards the Trigo Minong area. 1,248 square feet, 2 beds, 2 baths, a 4-car detached garage, so some extra storage there. And this was sold for $490,000 after being listed at $485,000. So that is, under $500,000 for a good size house on a good size lake. Gull Lake is over 500 acres. This one was on Nancy Lake, and this is over by Minong. Nancy Lake is about 750 acres. Nice clean lake, 1,852 square feet, a little bit older, but again, somewhat updated. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a 2-car detached garage. And that they were able to get for $525,000, just $6,000 over full asking price. And then the third one I want to show you is down on Lake Chautauqua by Birchwood. This is a bigger lake. It's 2,500 acres, but it does have a bit of an issue with getting green in mid to late summer. So that's something that you would have to be prepared for if you purchased on Lake Chautauqua. But lots of people love that lake, and you can get a little more for your money there as well. So this home was 1,700 square feet, but much newer construction, and just beautiful, beautiful home. Looks like low elevation. 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a 3-car detached garage. And this ended up selling for $615,000. As you can see, there was a big gap between asking and selling price. Typically, that means it was initially listed a little bit lower than maybe it should have been. You don't typically see this much difference between asking and selling price. But that's one of the things I can help you with when I work with you as a buyer, is to kind of advise you, is this property appropriately priced to begin with? I can pull some comps, show you what other properties are selling for, and then we can decide from there how aggressive to be with an offer, whether to go over full asking, right at full asking, maybe somewhere in between, a little bit over. And thank you again for listening to this video. I hope you made it to the end so you could gather all the information. I'm going to be doing a part 2 with properties that are $650,000 and on up from there. So if you want to check that out, that'll be posted probably a week after this one is posted. And as always, feel free to reach out to me directly if you're interested in selling your home and this is giving you some idea of what your home might be worth, but you want to meet with me to discuss that. Call, text, email me. Or if you're a buyer and you're looking to connect to start your home search, I am your local expert. I'll be happy to help you. And again, reach out to me in any way, and I will be here to help you with your process. Thank you very much for your time.